Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to another Join Dota League Season 3 EU matchup between HEHE United and Sqreen Squad. I am Mr. Blackadder for HeflaTV and, well, what can I say? I hope you guys can put your feet up and enjoy. We hopefully are in for one hell of a game. And going into this one, it seems we have the standard bans and nothing else. I mean, they're going to take out the Razor, they're going to take out the Doom, and they're going to take out the Lycan. That raises the question, will HEHE ban the Brewmaster or the Tinker? Or, I'm wondering if we're going to see something else unorthodox. And so far today, in games I've cast, we've had some unorthodox picks, and unorthodox is that fine line between genius and insanity. We've seen so far today a Jakiro pick completely work out in terms for Mineske, and that was a core Jakiro pick in a very squishy lineup. And that was a very entertaining game. But now going into this one, we do see the ban on Brew and the pick on that Skywrath Mage. Now, I'm not going to be surprised at all if we potentially see maybe the Skywrath Earthshaker for the first two for Sqreen Squad. That would certainly work out considering how effective we have in that support combo. But for HEHE, they have the Tinker available. They have, what else do they have in the pool? Tide. They have potential for the Earthshaker themselves. So I'm wondering what we're going to see HEHE pick up. They do have the pick of the litter right now. Things like that Tinker being left in can be such a key and crucial hero. Now, my curiosity sort of stems from the first two picks, especially if we see a Tinker, can dictate how HEHE want to play. Do they want to play that uber aggressive lineup, or do they want to wait out the time it takes for a Tinker to come online? Do they want to wait out the necessary farming time? That is the key question that we're going to need an answer to, and HEHE is certainly thinking through their time. We're a little delayed starting this one, which is my apologies, ladies and gentlemen, since HEHE were running a little late, but Sqreen Squad, they were all ready to go. Death Prophet will be the first pick for HEHE United, so a big indicator that they want to go for that push-heavy strategy. Of course, we could see the Exorcism being picked up at level 8 or 9, depending on how brawl-heavy they want to go with the Crypt Swarm. We've seen both variants of it lately here on the JDL. Equally, the Tinker is still there if they want it, or they could opt for maybe the Shadow Demon, the Shadow Shaman, more importantly, or the all-important Earth Shaker. Now, with this kind of lineup here for HEHE, or the potential types of lineup we could see for HEHE, we could be waiting about 20 minutes for that Death Prophet to come online, should they not get the towers down quickly, but they have the flexibility. And we do see a surprising pick coming out of HEHE. They'll go for the IO, so we could be looking for something to combo up with that Wisp, something to be that effective, yes, I'm going to be everywhere on the map at once kind of style. But on the flip side of the coin, we see a Wraith King pick up for Sqreen Squad. Now, is this going to be a support Wraith King or a carry Wraith King? The support combo of Skywrath Mage, Wraith King do rotate around the map and get a good few kills with the Wraith Fire Blast into Ancient Seal and Mystic Flare, so not to underestimate that in the slightest. But both of these heroes could equally be cores. We could get a core mid Skywrath Mage, we could get a core safe lane farming Wraith King. Hell, we could see a core aggressive tri-lane farming Wraith King for all I know. The flexibility is there for Sqreen Squad, and I'm liking their draft so far. But we do go into the second ban phase. The Centaur War Runner taken away by HEHE. They do not want to risk the blink initiation of the Centaur, and I can completely understand that when you have a Wraith King and a Skywrath Mage that could be accelerated by that all-important Stampede. But the flip side of the coin, Viper banned out by Sqreen Squad. Treant Protector removed from the field of battle. Taking out a decent mid laner or carry, depending on how you want to run the Viper, and taking out the pesky Treant Protector that can of course protect so many towers with that living armor.
5 seconds remaining.
But still, this does leave one ban to go from HEHE, and what do they want to take out of the pool here? What is a real threat to them? The Tinker, quite possibly, with that March of the Machines, could be a big ban, but it'll instead be the Faceless Void. Now, taking the Void out is going to help them out in terms of being able to control the field of battle without risk of that all-important Chronosphere, and of course, it does remove the combo of Faceless Void, Skywrath Mage, which, as we all know well and hate, a very powerful combo in not only pub games but the pro scene, and we've seen it used to great effect, be it at TI, be it after and before TI. It's been a big hero lately. But now for HEHE. Third pick, what do we see that's going to pair up with the IO?
5
I wonder.
seconds
Do we
remaining.
go the likes of the old school and bring the Chaos Knight out from its, well, dusty
Reserve
remnant?
time.
Or do we see something a little bit more interesting? We could see, of course, the Earthshaker, which does combo at least acceptably well with the IO. We could see the Tiny, which of course is not banned out. There are a good few options here for HEHE, and I'm wondering what they want to pick up. I mean, the Tiny would help out in terms of pushing down these towers, sure, but there are other options. And it will be those other options that are going to be the interesting one. We will see the Tide pick up. Now, Tide does work with IO fairly well, but I'm expecting this Tide to be on the offlane. The offlane Tide gets to level 6 early, and being able to get in the face of the enemy, be able to just go aggressive. Especially if you're against a Wraith King. The Anchor Smash, negative 60% damage reduction. The Wraith King won't be able to do any damage past the Kraken Shell. It's a very powerful combination, but that is of course assuming it's a farming Wraith King. The Tidehunter is one of those nice offlane heroes
10
that
seconds
deter the idea
remaining.
of a melee carry. I mean, you want to push into a Clockwork? No. You want to push into a Tide? No. You'll be punished too heavily
Dire
for it.
team
Sqreen
pick.
Squad will opt for the Jakiro. And this, I believe, is the 5th Jakiro I've seen in the last 3 days in terms of pro games. And I'm liking the Jakiro pick lately. It's being played as a core, as something that I had never even considered before. You get that early point up into Liquid Fire, and you can start just dealing damage to towers. I mean, max level,
10 seconds
it lasts 5
remaining.
seconds. It does 75 damage a second.
5
Not 75 damage a second, sorry. 15 damage a second, and it will deal it up to 75 over the full course of the duration.
Reserve time.
And it is by no means a small amount of damage onto a tower. 75 damage in 5 seconds on a tower that you don't even have to commit to deal damage to is pretty damn strong. And of course, the slow on the tower, the 50% tower accuracy slow. It is very powerful. But now, for HEHE, they will get the Earthshaker, which is most likely going to be one of the combo heroes with the IO, since it can deliver the Earthshaker into the middle of the fight without need of a Blink Dagger, and will be fairly scary for Sqreen Squad to deal with. I'm liking this lineup. You've got the defensive Earthshaker, the offlane Tide, the mid-Death Prophet. We just need a big carry here. Tiny or Chaos Knight, both would work. Now over to Sqreen Squad, though. They've got their potential tri-lane, or they've got their core Jakiro,
10
and then their
seconds remaining.
roaming support. I'm hesitant to try
5
to
seconds
predict
remaining.
where these lanes are going for Sqreen at this point, not without seeing their last 2 heroes.
Reserve time.
There is potential here for a Puck, there is potential for, hell, even a more tanky type mid-hero, maybe even a Warlock. We've seen the Warlock lately. But still, I wonder. They have flexibility, they have lanes that can go anywhere. The heroes are both flexible in being supports and carries. It's a curious pick. It really is a curious pick. And HEHE must be much in the same idea as to me. What do they pick to go with this? Where do they rotate? How do they draft against something that is so flexible? Do they just go for something that can take it to the face of Sqreen? Maybe something heavier hitting, maybe even the Chaos Knight I mentioned before? Or do we see the more safe picks? Do we see the more reasonable picks? The ones that aren't necessarily over-aggressive in case these lanes aren't what they predict? And we see the Luna, which I didn't see coming. Luna will of course be able to help push towers, but more importantly, she will be able to safely farm without much risk from the Earthshaker or the Tide. Now, sure, Luna has a short range, but in an off-lane scenario for the Tide, he wants to try to
10
get in
seconds
front
remaining.
and be able to anchor smash down the carry, to be putting that negative
5 seconds
60%
remaining.
damage onto the carry. It's going to be very difficult to do to a Luna, because of course Luna has a
Reserve
range,
time.
not a long range albeit, but
10
has the range and
seconds
has
remaining.
the highest base movement speed in the game at
5 seconds
330.
remaining.
Whereas Tide, I believe, only has, I want to say 300, could
Radiant
potentially be
team ban.
295. But Tide is not a fast hero. But still. Final bans, Clockwork banned out by HEHE, completely understandable in regard to that. And the final
Dire
ban out
team
coming from
pick.
Sqreen Squad will be that Mirana. Now with that Mirana, I'm wondering if we're going to see those. If the Marana was picked, I'm wondering if we would have seen the aggression quite possible. But would you really want to pick a Marana when you've got an IO, Earthshaker, Tide, and Death Prophet? Would that be an adequate pick? I'm wondering that one. Still, nonetheless,
10 seconds remaining.
potential here for a safe lane farmer. In my mind, they need to go with the Tiny or
5
the
seconds remaining.
Chaos Knight. It's telegraphed it in near enough.
Reserve time.
We'll go with the Tiny, which is going to be, in my mind, the
Radiant
safer of the
team
two
pick.
options. The Chaos Knight is the one you'll pick if you want to brawl and you want to fight. The Tiny is the one you'll pick if you want to bring down towers quickly. Sure, you can rotate and gank with the relocate, but Tiny kills towers much, much quicker than a CK. And now for the final pick for Sqreen Squad. We've got the Luna, got the Jakiro, the Wraith King, and the Skyrath. We're looking potentially for an off-lane type hero here. Now, what can we go for that off-lane? Do we
10
go
seconds
off-lane? What can we put in this off-lane? What makes the most sense?
5
Assuming this is,
seconds
of course,
remaining.
they're looking for an off-lane and it's not an aggressive tri-lane Wraith King. You could put a Magnus in the off-lane, a
Reserve time.
Puck in the off-lane. What are the other ones that really stand out? Nature's Prophet, potentially, which would help out with that push, be able to at least rotate around the map and enjoy the ganks. But we get the Warlock! Oh, they do not disappoint! I love seeing Warlock games. Warlock is such a strong hero, and it's one that you cannot underestimate. He's very hard to kill, and he has his Golem, and the Golem, you never want to face tank the Golem, no matter how you stand. But at this point in the game, ladies and gentlemen, I will turn around to you guys in the chat. Tell me, who do you favour? Do you favour the lineup of HEHE United, or do you place your bets on Sqreen Squad? Type in chat which you think will win, just so I can get a grasp of what the chat will bet on. For me, my money, as much as I like HEHE's draft, and I seriously do like HEHE's draft, Sqreen have just given me my favourite
10
hero.
seconds
My
remaining.
favourite hero in the entire game. My money is safely on Sqreen Squad, and it
5
would not
seconds
surprise me to
remaining.
see a mid-lane Warlock, a safe lane Luna, and an aggro tri-lane Wraith King. But on that note, ladies and gentlemen, let's load into the game. We do get an immediate pause as we're waiting for HEHE to pick their last hero. And, well, I think we're in for something a little bit special. I seriously do. We could be in for one hell of a draft. But from where we stand, I guess at this point we should introduce the players. For the lineup of Sqreen Squad, SS for short, we have Slander on the Skyrath Mage. We've got ZXC on the Warlock, and I'm going to be watching him. We have Sqreen on the Wraith King. We have Afterlife on the Jakiro, and finally we have Nubik on the Luna. And the Luna, in my mind, is going to get a fair amount of safe farm. We do get a full 4-man rotation up towards that top lane to begin. The flip side of this all-important coin, however, for HEHE, we've got Nihis on the IO, we've got Blue Banana on the Death Prophet, we have Fire on the Earthshaker, and it seems he will be playing with the EG set, so we'll be getting the fire effects on all the fishes and things. It's going to be glorious. We do have AKG on the Tiny, who's also rotating up to that top lane, and it might be a contest up there for any form of aggression. And finally, that does leave, of course, bringing up the rear on the Tidehunter, Chip Seju. And we do have a straight level 1 fight. We do get the stun out from Sqreen. Fish are going to drop. It's going to block out his entire team. However, Ice Path across the top is going to try to protect Sqreen for a little bit longer. He's going to tango through. Can he escape? Yes, he damn well can, but one more right click will spell his doom, and he goes down to the tower. So First Blood goes the way of the tower on the full side of HEHE, but now we get a fight on the backside. That's a big avalanche on 3. Ice Path going to connect on 3 equally, and the Fisher will clean up the Luna. So a 2-for-0 trade so far for HEHE, and now they're looking for more. Can they bring down Chip Seju? Yes, they damn well can, but it's a 3-for-1 trade in the end. Down goes the Skyrath for the Tide. But now Nihis comes back in. They're getting some good damage onto ZXCY is blocked up, and the avalanche plus the hit from fire will finish that up. So it's a 4-for-1 trade before the horn sounds in favour of HEHE United. What a start. We have our aggression.
Begins.
Equally, though, can we find anything else? Ooh, fire may be lurking a little too long, but Sqreen doesn't want to go on it. What a interesting start to the game, and aggression across the board. But from where do we stand with the lanes? We've got the Tide going up against the Jakiro of Afterlife, by the looks of things, and it looks to be a core Jakiro. So, when you see Jakiro versus Tide, the Kraken Shell does not do that much, and you cannot really get up close and personal with a Jakiro to be able to hit him with the Anchor Smash. So, on this, at least off lane for the Tide, I'm going to say it'll go the way of Afterlife here. But, mid lane, what do we have? We've got the Warlock versus the Tiny lane. Now, Warlock, very hard to kill, very hard to rotate on. But it's going to be a core Warlock. This is a mid Warlock. You cannot underestimate it. And a Warlock is not a support in this case. Warlock is near never a support. Warlock is like a Necrolite. You get your Aghanims, you get your Refresher, you go early, you drop your Golems, upheaval, and you just cause damage. He is a better core than a support in my mind. And he should be able to punish and take all the CS and farm from AKG. Sure, Tiny has a lot of base damage, but if we look at the base damage of this Warlock, he has 63. He's not got a lot. He's not got a small amount of base damage by any stretch of the imagination. And he also has the heal, so he's going to be very hard to stop. In the meantime, top lane, we do get another fight breaking out. Sqreen will be the order of business here. Going to throw a stun out on fire, but can they bring down the Wraith King in time? A couple more right clicks from Nihis, and it's a possibility. But they need a Fissure. Do they have a Fissure? 4 seconds, and it's off by 3 mana, 2 mana. This should be a dead Sqreen. Fissure will fly, and that's going to be a killing spree for fire. Now, however, over in the lane, we do have the tri-lane Death Prophet versus the tri-lane Luna. And I'm actually going to say the tri-lane Death Prophet with the support of the Earthshaker and the IO is going to be better in this case. And that HEHE will take the top lane with little contest in my mind. But Nihis will rotate down towards this mid lane and look to protect. Now, if they can hold and kill ZXC, that's going to be brilliant. But ZXC will just turn around, heal himself, and continue harassing. The strength of the Warlock. How do you disrupt a Warlock that can just heal himself like this? And I will point this out, since a lot of people don't realise. The heal, the Shadow Word, lasts 11 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. It heals at max rank for 45 a tick. That is 495 healing or harm being able to go the way of a single spell. It's a very large amount of damage over time. But equally now we could see a contest from Sqreen looking to deal with this pull, and the gold going the way of Slander there, using the Arcane Bolt just to ensure that he has that little bit of an edge. And, well, sure, they're not going to be able to farm heavily under the tower, but it's going to at least help out in terms of bringing this tower momentum back the way of Sqreen squad. They want to have this as close to their tier 1 as possible. If they can manage that, that's going to be brilliant. But I'm going to be keeping an eye on across all these lanes. We've got Nihis. We're taking down to the bottom lane on the IO. Moving around the lanes quite heavily, and he's going to be helping out Chips, who's going to have a very rough time, as I mentioned, up against Afterlife. And Afterlife, for all intent and purposes, he's going to be prioritizing Liquid Fire and then Ice Path. He's going to look to be the controlling aspect of this game. And we do see Chipsajin going for that early point in Gush, which is going to at least help him get some damage onto Afterlife. Otherwise, he has no hope of catching this Jakiro. This Jakiro's got 340 movement speed, has those boots. But with IO to support, of course the movement speed does go with an edge towards the Tide, who equally has his boots and the bonus from that all-important tether. But still, across these lanes, I'm not sure where the next flurry of aggression is going to be. You'd think it'll be the tri-lane, but I'm wondering if... Oh, wow, it's not the tri-lane. It's actually the Jakiro on the bottom lane. The Jakiro goes down to the Tide and the IO, which I did not see coming. With IO's presence here, it seems that you can't really stand that well up against the Tide. The edge of the movement speed and the extra damage and slow coming from the IO, of course. So a good edge coming towards HEHE United here, but can Sqreen's squad answer this? They're going to go into fire. The concussive shot is there. Arcane bolts are falling. Ancient Seal as well. Cancels out the Fissure last second, but they're not going to be able to follow this one up, surely. Fissure's going to go down. Do they have the damage? Yes, they damn well do. Off the back of that Lucent Beam and Arcane Bolt, Scarith Mage picking up the kill, and it's now 2 for 6 in favour of HEHE. And the end of the day, though, of this top lane has been the focus of everything. But still, while this is all going on, you have this Warlock mid-lane farming. He's 21 for 8, top of the board right now, has himself phase boots, so he's going to be looking for the extra movement speed and right-click instead of the idea of treads just for the health and the extra survivability. I honestly can get behind the pickup of treads. He now outright clicks the Tiny. That's a very hard thing for the Tiny to now answer, because the extra harassment going into the Tiny is going to be one thing, but it's going to give him control over this mid lane in terms of last hits and denies, and we can see that. It's now 21 for 11, plays 17 and 1. The level advantage is in favour of the Warlock. Barely, well, no, it's actually not. It's actually in favour of the Tiny. I'm guessing that was off the back of those extra kills at level 1. But if it was just the lane, the level advantage would be in favour of this Warlock. And he almost has his level 6 now, and that's going to be the key thing. And we can see the build on this Warlock. Now, as I mentioned, I do like the Warlock. I'm a bit of a connoisseur of the Warlock play, and this is the Owie build. He used to do this one. 3 points up in the heal, 2 points in the stats, and the Golem. That gives you such control in terms of the last hitting power, as pointed out. He has complete dominance of this lane in terms of last hits and denies, and it's going to be very rough for this Tiny, because if he tries to commit, if he even tries to go for the stun toss combo, he will heal himself, and then there's the possibility for a Golem. In comes the stun, toss back, but self-heal. No, he's actually gone for aggressive heal, and now comes the Golem. Good damage coming on to AKG, but where's the answer for this? Fire rotates in, catches him with a Fissure. Not going to block, though, and now we could get a potential kill. Then again, Slander also TP'd in, and the possibility for a counter kill is there. He has to run, but in comes Sqreen from the Wraithfire Blast off the back foot. Manages to clean up the Tiny. And now looking for Nihis, down goes the Io. That's a 2-for-0 trade in favour of Sqreen squad off the back of the Golem drop. And while this is happening, you get the rotation away from ZXC. He did not die at all, and his Golem is continuing to farm up for him in this mid lane. And early Aghanims would not surprise me on the back of this level of early aggression. And in early Aghanims, how do you answer that as HEHE? They have no natural Diffusal Blade carrier. They're going to have to try to kill the Golems with physical damage, which they have the ability to do, but the Golem's Flaming Fist proc is not to be underestimated. Hell, underestimating a Warlock by default is a bad idea. In the meantime, the Jakiro will mess around with Nihis, getting some good damage. Macropyre as well. This could potentially kill the Wisp, but no, he will survive, at least for now. Didn't get the extra hit with the Liquid Fire. Then again, we do have Chips rotating back down to this lane. Has that Ravage ready to go. Has that Anchor Smash. But are they going to want to commit to Afterlife here? Meantime, we do get another kill from the Skywrath Mage. They managed to bring down the Death Prophet with a rotation. This is where you're starting to get the early levels up onto the Luna. We almost have that Eclipse, which is going to be one of the big fighting spells they're looking for. Meantime, bot lane, we do get Afterlife messing around with Chips. The Wisp is rotating in, but they're not going to be able to continue this fight. Everyone's going to back away. They don't want to risk this. Slander, though? How's he doing? He's 3, 1, and 2. He can rotate in, pinged out, of course, by HEHE. They realise he's here, this ward revealing all, but he wants to be able to get into these fights. He wants his early arcanes, and he is nearly there by all intent and purpose. He's only missing 140 gold. And this could be a very easy game for the Skywrath to start to ball out of control. And they can just look for the potential kill here on AKG if they want to go on anyone. But then again, in comes the TP's bot lane. Afterlife in a lot of trouble. Will potentially go down to the Exorcism. Will certainly go down to the Exorcism. In the meantime, Sqreen comes in on the back foot, manages to get one. Can he get anyone else? I don't think so. It's a 1-for-1 trade at this minute. The core heroes, the Tide for the Jakiro. So fairly even at this point, but can they now get Sqreen? I don't think they can. Delivers the phase boots to the Wraith King, and now you got Slander rotating in as well. Do we have any other rotations coming in? We don't have the Golem up for a few more seconds yet, so I don't think we're going to see a rotation from the Warlock. Then again, pings go out. Nihis taking a good amount of damage, but are they going to be able to answer this? They want to force back Blue Banana and at least give the opportunity to defend this tier 1. ZXC, in the meantime, will go and find himself a haste rune. He's going to rotate potentially to the secret shop here. No, he's actually going to go aggressive. Could they potentially find a kill up here? With the Golem, yes, they can. And Fire would be the ideal target. Fire is 3 in 1 right now. He's not got his spree, but he certainly wants to be the target here. And in comes ZXC. They're going to try to bring down the Shaker. And with the Golem to initiate, certainly will look for it. Do they have any stun? No, they don't. And the TP out is just more than enough. Didn't get the Lucian Beam in time from Nubik. And there's a very rough little exchange there in favour of HEHE. It forces the Golem for nothing, but now off the back foot of the fight on the bottom lane. Cryptswarm doing a good amount of damage. Afterlife being forced far back. He can't turn around back into this fight. One more Cryptswarm would finish him off, and Sqreen is nearby to try to hold this. But while the Warlock is while the Warlock is out of the lane, basically away from the tower, AKG will rotate in and look to bring that down. So it could be a tier 1 mid for a tier 1 top. Tier 1 top will certainly fall first.
Dire's top tower
And we do get
has
TP
fallen.
rotations in from the Wisp. Do we have anyone else nearby to stop that? They're not actually going to push for the tier 2. In the meantime, AKG getting caught up position. Wraithfire Blast and TP's coming towards the mid lane. ZXC is here, has that Shadow Word present, and he's in a lot of trouble. Down goes the Tiny to Sqreen. In the meantime, do we see any other forms of aggression on this lane? Nihis is nearby, wants to fight, gets the Wisps up to try to at least force back the potential aggression here, but in comes the potential fight for this tier 1 mid. Chips is here, does have the Ravage, silenced out now by Ancient Seal, but are they going to fall back or are they going to risk this one? They're fighting into Ravage. It's a very rough one. Sure, we have Reincarnation there from Sqreen. Chips is taking a good amount. In comes the Ravage. Reincarnation, however, will trigger. Everyone is so slow. Macropie to go down as well, and the Mystic Flare. But they lose the Luna for nothing at this point, and now we get the turnaround with that Exorcism, throw up into his team, and down goes the Jakiro. That's a 2-for-1 trade at this point for HEHE at the loss of absolutely nothing, and they're going to take the pressure. They're going to look for this tower, and if they can get this tower down, this could be the start of the snowball here for HEHE United.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
All 5 members looking strong, with the exception of the Tide right now, who needs to get some form of healing at this point. And could they look for more off the back of this Exorcism? This Exorcism still has a second or 2 left on it, but no, they're going to fall back. They got their tier 1, they got 2 kills, they're happy with that, they're content. But what items do we have coming up? The tower gives you the gold. What are they going to spend this gold on? That is my big question. In the meantime, the Warlock will find Nihis with the rotation in from the rest of his team, so it's going to help out, at least for getting something in exchange for this tier 1. The Wisp, in all honesty, overstayed his welcome, but I think that was a relocate coming back into that lane. Yes, it was. Now you got Chips just going to be rotating away, and he's safe. I doubt they're going to dive that heavily for him. Then again, Sqreen putting down a very aggressive ward. This is going to give them a little bit of an edge in terms of trying to push this bottom tier 1 in finally. But speaking of pushing tier 1s, down goes the mid tier 1. No attempt to deny it that could actually succeed, and everything here, at least in my mind, is going to be in favour of Sqreen squad. And let's take a look at the graphs at this point. It's only a 500 gold lead for the Sqreen squad, and 0 experience, so it's very close. By no means does anyone have an advantage. But when you regard Sqreen squad like this, they have, in my opinion, a better team fight. Sure, they're fighting it well. That's a hard one to call. Do they have a better team fight? It's Golem, Macropia, Eclipse, Reincarnation up against Ravage, Echo Slam, Tiny, then Exorcism.
Radiant's middle tower is
That's actually a hard one to call. Who actually has the better team fight? Huh. I wonder. It's going to be an interesting one to develop. Speaking of developing things in this game, Blue Banana taking a good amount of damage to the Mystic Flare. In comes the Golem on the back foot. AKG looks for the extra kill, but it goes the way of Blue Banana. The Golem immediately cleans up, and in comes the Eclipse. AKG to fall. Now looking for Nihis. One more stun will spell doom to this Wisp, and Sqreen can deliver. Down goes the Wisp, and that's a double kill for Nubik. In the meantime, in comes Fire. Going to be able to finish off this tower off the back of the fight, and he's just going to rotate away. He's content just getting that tier 1. While this is all going on, though, Afterlife is continuing to farm up, using that Macropire to push the lane out, and will be sieging the tier 1 with that all-important liquid fire. So the kind of fights that we're looking for. Aggression. Relentless aggression. But they're going to commit the Ravage on that bot lane, plus the Fissure. They're going to try to bring down Afterlife. One Gush could do it. We also get the Relocate coming in with only Nihis. He doesn't bring any friend with him, and they should at least finish off the Jakiro off the back of the Gush, and Nihis picks up the kill. We do have Blue Banana present down here, though, and he doesn't have Exorcism for 65 seconds, but going to go straight running into Sqreen, but Sqreen has that Invis Rune. Sneaky tactics coming out of here from Sqreen squad, and they're going to go on to Fire. Where's the rotation? In comes the Mystic Flare, doing good damage to Fire. Doesn't finish him off in time, though. Echo Slam to be committed, and they're going to look to bring down Slander off the back of the combo, and will be finished off by Blue Banana. But Nubik will answer the call and get the counter kill onto that Earthshaker. But now could Nubik be in some trouble, actually. Blue Banana hanging around, looking for the fight, and now you get the rotation coming in from Tide and from Nihis on that Wisp, and down goes Nubik. Double kill up for Blue Banana, and a bit of a spree going the way of Blue Banana as well. 415 gold, nonetheless. But still, what do we see item-wise coming up for this Death Prophet? She's got 1,400 gold. She has some items flying out on the courier. These are components for that all-important Ewells, which is now complete and delivered. So a very good start for the Death Prophet, at least. However, for ZXC, he has a Midas on the Warlock. He invested the time and the gold he had into that Midas, so he's going to be looking for level acceleration. He already has that level 2 up on the Golem. He wants level 3 Golems as soon as possible. and he has a point booster. He is only a mere 2,200 gold away from double golems. And then with a Midas, it's only going to be a few minutes after that if they can take some good fights until we get that refresher and have the potential quad golem drop. But still, while this is going on, we have AKG potentially getting caught out. Wraithfire Blast plus Slanders here. Do we have that Mystic Flare Ancient Seal combo? Yes, we damn well do. And this could be the death of the Tiny. One more right click or two could do it, but in comes the Wisp to try to get something in exchange. They managed to bring down the Skywrath Mage. Sqreen is in a lot of trouble here. Reincarnation will be forced. He has no help here. They committed two to try to kill AKG, but AKG had the support rotating in, and the edge of this little engagement will go the way of HEHE. 2 for nil trade. Meantime, bot lane, we do get the reincarnation coming down, bringing AKG with him, and Luna in the air with that Yules, but in comes the Golem, gets one, looks for AKG now, gets two, double kill up for ZXC, now looking for more. Can they bring down Blue Banana? Yes, they damn well can. One more right click, but he's getting stuck in the trees. Fire needs to protect this Death Prophet. The Golem will finish this off, but Wisp comes in. Is it enough? Yes, it damn well is, for at least for the moment. In the meantime, in the backlines of this, ZXC getting brought down by the Tiny and the Earth Shaker. That makes it a 2-for-2 trade in this bot lane scuffle. From where we stand, I want to look at the graphs. This is a very aggressive game. We have over 2 kills a minute at this point. It's only a 500 gold lead to Sqreen Squad now. These graphs are so indecisive. 500 experience the way of HEHE, however. A epitome of a close game, but it seems HEHE have decided it's Roshan time, and they're going to start to crack down on this. But scouted out now, Slander is here. They're going to drop the Mystic Flare. Doesn't connect on anything, however. The Ice Path combo unfortunately missing, but now they get the support rotating in. Sqreen is here. They can fight this. Do they want to, however? That is the key question. We also got Chips lurking nearby as well, and he has Ravage ready to go. But Roshan slowly falling. Nihis eats a Wraithfire. Fisher to block to go down to try to defend this. And Roshan's almost down. But now we have the full team here. Nubik is rotating in as well. Do we have any ultimates available, though? I don't think we do. Ravage going to fly. Going to catch on 4. Make that 5. And now Chip's going to be in a lot of trouble. But gets the Anchor Smash on everyone. And now they throw in the Tiny, the Wisp even. And now they're going to look for a good one. But a triple Ice Path into a Macropie from Afterlife. They're going to look to at least get a counter kill here. They've lost the Tide, but they can't get anyone else. They force the death onto Luna for an Aegis at this point. And now on the back foot, you've got Sqreen going to go down and kill off the Death Prophet. So it's a 3-for-1 at this point in, plus the Aegis. Now they're going to look for AKG a second time. Can they finish him off with the extra stun? They have the damage, but throwback trying to get the time they need. Ice Path to be delivered and will connect with AKG falling a second. And that's a 4-for-1 trade in favor of Sqreen Squad. Potentially the best fight they could look for after losing that Roshan. And this was without a Golem. Imagine right now if they had a Golem in that fight. But, speaking of golems, Aghanim's time for ZXC. Double golem to be delivered on the next all-important chaotic offering. And, well, in my mind, HEHE now may be on the clock. The double golems are up. Now that gives them a big fight in terms of team fight. It's a big edge in terms of team fights even. And it's only a matter of time before we see that refresher. When we see that refresher come online, that could be huge. And they're going to go into Chips again, but Death Prophet's there to ward away Sqreen. Don't want to risk that. I mean, another fight like that, the graph finally going above 500 over the last few minutes, and we get a 1,500 gold lead the way of Sqreen, and that's mostly the Warlock with that Midas at this point. Same for experience, 2,000 gold off the back of that, 2,000 experience off the back of that team fight, and now they're going to look for Nubik. Can they bring him down in time? Nubik pops the drum. He wants to run. He wants to get away from this, but in comes the Eclipse. Echo Slam won't hit, but in comes a double Golem. Gets 1, gets 2. Complete turnaround there, and that's what you get for chasing a Luna. Now they're going to look for Chips. He should be safe. He's TP'd away. Won't even be caught. But double Golem push now coming in onto this bottom tier 2. That's going to be the order of business here for Sqreen Squad. Meantime, Blue Banana farming up the jungle. What's he desperately trying to get? We have a 4-staff coming up for him when he finishes off that camp. And for the Tiny, what does Tiny have? He's trying to get an Aghanims. But is it going to be too little, too late in terms of that Aghanims? In comes the tier 2 push. With that double Golems, this tower will fall as soon as that fortification is down, and now we get another fight breaking out. We have Ravage to go, however, for HEHE. They get a double, triple Ice Path into the Macropire. Once again, this Jakiro doing good work, and now in comes the Exorcism, in comes the turn, and Ravage to fly. And now they're looking to bring down ZXC, but can they do so in time? These Golems are just chopping apart the dire side. Down goes the Wisp. They're looking for Blue Banana. Nubik is still here. And AKG taking a fairly large amount of damage as well. Will potentially go down. Blue Banana gets the double kill off the back of that Exorcism, but will take a fall in exchange. That's a 2-for-2 trade. Golems are now down, though. Can they find anyone else? I don't think they can. But now Afterlife going to be pushing into the base. Gets some presence of here with Sqreen helping them out, and no one on HEHE United wants to fight that. Hell, would you want to fight that? Would you really want to fight that with your Death Prophet dead and Tiny without Aghanims? I don't think you do. But he's only a mere 900 gold away from their Aghs and could be potentially looking to fight in off the back of this one. And they're going to throw a stun onto Chips, but there's no follow-up off the back of that. Meantime, however, Wisp looking to mess around with Slander, and this could be a little bit of an overzealous aggression here. Do we have a Mystic Flare ready to go? No, we don't. It's just a brawl right now, and this is a brawl that will go the way of the Wisp if he doesn't get out of there in time. But Relocate forcing him away. Now, these brawls are getting very intense in all honesty. We're at 42 kills in 20 minutes. I said relentless aggression earlier. I wasn't quite expecting this, and it's now a 4,000 gold lead and a 3,000 experience lead the way of Sqreen Squad. The Warlock and Luna combo paying off in this respect, and we do have the Oblivion up. We're only a matter of time before Refresher. And then we're looking for that quad golem, and it might be all over but for the crying here for HEHE if they cannot answer the quad golem. But what can they really do to stop that golem? The four of them, potentially. It's going to be very scary, and I realise we've been on Last Hits and Denies the entire time. We're 20 minutes in. Who cares about Last Hits and Denies? Let's take a look at the net worth. 10,000 net worth, and potentially going to be some more off this as Nihis goes down to Luna and the Wraith King. 10,000 net worth on that Warlock. 8,800 on the Luna. They have everything they could possibly want being delivered to them shortly, and Slander's even getting some items up. He's got himself an Ogre Club. He's going to be looking for his own, most likely BKB here. He just wants the safety of a BKB to avoid the Ravage, to avoid the Crypt Swarm and silence of Blue Banana. Just time, as I mentioned for... I said in the very early part of this game, time is the fire in which HEHE will burn. It's very much the truth of this one, considering the Warlock's presence in this game. But now we have that Aghanims up for AKG. He's going to start looking for any farm he can with that and being able to push towers. And Sqreen goes with an aggressive blink, doesn't quite manage to find the range on the Wraithfire Blast. And Tier 2, however, will go down in favour of Sqreen Squad.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
It's only a matter of time, though, before we see the next team fight, the next big one. And ZXC has the double golem ready to go once again. Still no points in Upheaval, though, and... I'm wondering about that one. Upheaval is such a powerful spell. Sure, Fatal Bonds are nice, but one target versus one of the best slows in the game for 1 point. It's an interesting one here. And ZXC, he certainly, if he doesn't go for the Upheaval, can get a lot of right-clicks off. And Warlock has a lot of right-click potential here, considering the build he went, considering his items at the 22-minute mark. We could potentially see up to 200, make that 200 damage a hit on that Warlock. Meantime, you do have the crits coming out of Sqreen, starting to add up. The double damage Luna, ready to barrel down your top lane. They want to get this last tier 2. Where is the response, though, from HEHE? They're looking to split push. They're looking to try to get some damage equally on the bot lane tier 2. But is that a wise trade at this point? A tower for a tower can be worth it, but when you're barreling down versus a Death Ball, the Death Ball will take your buildings quicker. And they're going to go for the high ground. They're going to go for the tier 3. And double golems are up. This is going to be a very hard teamfight at this point for HEHE, considering they're not in their basal setup. Now come the mass TPs. They're wanting to defend this, but can they? That is my key question. They've got the Echo, they've got the Ravage. It's up to HEHE now to deliver. We're going to look for an aggressive positioning from Chips, trying to at least stop this level of push from the creeps. And in comes the Tiny, throwing some creeps in at ZXC, who's just going to heal himself. And we have that potential for that double golem at this point. And Blink as well in from Sqreen. They're going to go straight onto AKG, Fisher to block, and the Ravage, who delays the golem for a few seconds, but in comes the golem drop. And they're going to look for bringing down Chips, but do they really need to at this point? BKB Eclipse as well, going on to Blue Banana, and the Exorcism times out now. It was used on that bot lane for the push, and they're going to bring down the tier 3. Can they get the racks? Sqreen thrown back into his team, but is it enough at this point? The golems fall, but where is the rest of the damage? Slander getting some good hits in. Does he have another Mystic Flare? No, he doesn't. He doesn't have the mana or the cooldown. And AKG holds it for now. HEHE managed to hold their racks at the loss of the tier 3.
bottom tower is under
Is
attack.
that enough, though, for HEHE? Is that absolutely enough? It was a tier 2 on the bot lane that still did fall as well, so it's a tower for 2 towers in the end of the day. Then again, it's a tower for 2 towers and all of the ultimates of Sqreen Squad. So maybe a slight edge, at least for the next 2 minutes, to HEHE, but they need to make something happen in these 2 minutes. If they don't make something happen in the 2 minutes, all the ultimates will be back online, and that time is wasted. It'll only be a matter of time before the golems come in for the push. And we look at golems, he has the gold now to buy that final perseverance, and off that, we have 4 golems potentially going to be falling in the next team fight. It's going to add up. Speaking of team fights, they're going to look to go into chips with the initiation from Sqreen. Mystic Flare commit as well, but the pipe is up. Now they look for the potential turnaround kill onto Sqreen. Does he have reincarnation? No, he does not. That's a decent kill going the way of HEHE. But they need more off the back of this push. They need the time and the space. They're going to look for Afterlife. Afterlife's a good one. Ice Path Havoc connects on 3. And Afterlife needs to run here. He needs to get the hell out of dodge, but he's going to potentially be blocked in. Not quite. But the damage is there. A couple more right clicks coming in from AKG, plus the Throne of the Tide is enough. So that's 2 kills for none going the way of HEHE. They need a tier 2, however. They need specifically this tier 2. One more hit to deny it, will be denied. They could potentially pressure him for the tier 3. They have 20 seconds before these heroes come online, but the Warlock, he's got his refresher. It's only a matter of time, but in comes the Exorcism. They're going to start to shred this mid-tier 3, and they will potentially get it, but will they get the racks? The tower means nothing. The racks mean everything. Buyback from the Jakiro. In comes the Wraith King, and it's only going to be a matter of time. Refresher, Golem. He didn't have the double Golems ready, unfortunately, so he's only got the first set. But down goes the melee racks. Range racks are falling to Blue Banana. Golems are trying to do something, but they're getting picked off too quickly. AKG cleans up both of them. Meantime, back foot this fight. Chip does get hit by a stun. Mystic Flare to go as well. Nihis takes some good damage, and one more right click will bring him down. Ravage to be commit now. Looking for ZXC. Echo Slam to come in. Now looking for Afterlife as well. But can they bring down the heroes off the back of this one? Buyback from the Wisp. They're looking to hold it. They lose the Luna, though. And down goes the Warlock off the back of this. There's no double Golem dropped, unfortunately, in this one. And Sqreen will potentially take a fall as well. Fire to be the one to clean up the Wraith King the first time. Reincarnation, however, he will come back. They're looking to bring him down a second time. One more right click. And will be a double kill going the way of AKG. But now, do they want to go for any other racks? No, they might just commit for the tier 4s here. They certainly have the power to do so. Do they have an Exorcism? Not for 45 seconds. And you can see the supports and the Jakiro trying to do their best to hold this one. But is it too late? Did Sqreen Squad overstay their welcome on that top lane? It was only a 10k gold lead, and now it's starting to swing. Swing so epically as well. He have the potential for that 10k gold comeback. You cannot ever underestimate a Wisp and a Tiny. And this is just proof of that. And Tiny's going to start to try to farm up the Ancients. He's actually not going to be able to, not without the regen rune that he conveniently finds. And it's now the first set of racks in the game in favour of HEHE. But 2 sets of exposed racks for Sqreen to deal with at some point. Still, this game could go either way. I do not want to be the one to call this game. I'm not going to say this is over by any stretch, especially if they can bring down AKG. In comes the Wisp relocate, though, to try to protect him. The BKB by the Tiny to survive the Mystic Flare, and he should be safe. The safety of the relocate there just to ensure everything goes smoothly for HEHE United. And continuing to farm up here for AKG. What's AKG going to be going for next, I wonder? He has his BKB, he has Aghanim Scepter. Do we go AC next? Do we go Manta next? Both are valid options for AKG. There are all manner of options here. Equally, you know what? Let's take a look at items across the board, shall we? Blue Banana has the BKB 4-staff Ewells. Potentially Sheepstick next. Over on the Skywrath... actually, no, we were doing Diacide. We'll do Diacide first. What the hell am I on about? Too much action. Messing with my brain. Fire, we've got the Blink Dagger and Arcanes. He doesn't want anything extra, really. Anything extra is luxury. Over on AKG, we mentioned potentially Manta or AC next. For Tide. Tide has a pipe, and he's now going for a 4-staff, most likely. So good item choices up for him as well. No Blink Dagger, but it's not needed. He has enough of his team that can initiate for him. He can save for other items completely. Flip side of the coin, however, Luna, Manta, potentially Butterfly next. Over on the Warlock, he's got his Refresher. Could go Heaven's Halberd next. Or could potentially look for, what could he actually go for? A Sheepstick. Sheepstick would always be good with the Refresher. But now we get a Smoke. I'm not going to be able to go through all their items in time. Oh, Sentry to go down, won't reveal the smoke, of course, until they get too close. But now we get the initiation from Sqreen. They're going to drop the double golems. Do they have the second one? Yes, they do! Quad golems to go in, and down goes the tide. Ravage just go off in time, but the golems are just doing so much work. In comes Blue Banana with that exorcism, but he'll potentially go down to the right clicks at this point, and the golems continuing to chase away the Tiny. Fisher block to come out, and Sqreen will go aggressive. Or trying to bring down the Tiny, will manage to do so, but Echo is committed as well. But in comes the reincarnation, the slow of that reincarnation, more than enough to bring it down. Double kill, the way of the Warlock. ZXC doing work. But now it's time to bring down the Roshan to get the Aegis. Who do they put the Aegis on, though? Is it going to go on to the Jakiro? Is it going to go on to Nubik? Surely it'll go on to the Luna. And it will certainly go onto the Luna. Now, where is the push? They need to get something else. They got the Roshan. They want another objective. They've got 30 seconds before the Tiny is up. 35 before the Earthshaker. And it seems the line's being drawn potentially for this top set of racks. Then again, yeah, it seems it'll be top set of racks. The creeps are there. This is going to be exactly what they need. If they can equalize the racks here, it's going to be very good for HEHE United. Mans to be popped, and well, the Glaive's starting to do some good work. They have no Ravage. They have no big ultimates to defend this one, and it will be a melee. Rax going down. Stun goes out into Blue Banana, though, and now Chip get caught in the middle of it. Ice Path will fall, and he could potentially be brought down here before he can do anything. Does he have a Ravage anywhere near complete? No, he does not, and he should go down to the Arcane Bolt here, especially with the blink aggressively from Sqreen, and equally on the back for AKG. TP's in, Macropire, Ice Path, and Ancient Seal. Is it going to be enough to bring down the Tiny? I don't think so. Fisher to go down, catches on 3. Now down goes the Luna. Aegis to be popped. Can they find anything else off the back of this one? Ice Path to try to protect the Aegis respawning on the Luna. And in comes the BKB. Going to look to bring down fire. But the physical right click from the Tiny is not to be underestimated. He doesn't have the attack speed at this point, though. And now his BKB's popped. Looking for more. Gets the kill onto the Jakiro and to the Skywrath Mage. 2 big kills for the Tiny. Equally though, ZXC has that turnaround potential. Doesn't have his refresher or the golems available though. Not for a good 50 seconds. In the backlines of this fight, it's a double kill, however, as they bring down the Wraith King, but Nubik will answer that with a kill on the Death Prophet. It's a 3-for-3 scenario. Earthshaker and Tiny up against Warlock and Luna. But where is the answer to this? They're still knocking on the doors of that Rax, and they will potentially go in again with that Manta being popped. AKG could be brought down, I will point this out. And he can clean up the illusions, but will they be able to bring down this range Rax? Hell, the range Rax doesn't regenerate, I suppose, so they can just safely leave it, and that will be the order of business. They don't want to risk this without another set of golems, and we have that combo available again in 10 seconds, which can so heavily aggress any lane. But the tier 4s did take some damage while this was going on, however. The creep waves were pushing down this mid lane, and got to be something that Sqreen Squad will need to keep an eye on, but now everyone is respawning. They're just going to wait. They're going to reset. They want to re-engage. And do you honestly blame them? This could be the epitome of the aggressive game. Let's count this up. We're at 60 kills in 32 minutes. We wanted something aggressive. We got possibly the most aggressive game I have seen all week. And we opt for, okay, now we're going unorthodox. We've got a Maelstrom on ZXC. He has that. He has got the full Maelstrom. I've never seen a Maelstrom pick up on a Warlock before. If I had a statsman, I'd turn around and ask what the win rate of this item on Warlock is, but I'm sure I'll get Kvo to give me the stats on that at some point. But an unorthodox pickup in terms of items, certainly. It certainly could pay off. And I suppose the main reason for going that is to get that Mjolnir up. And in the meantime, aggression outside the base. Chip getting caught out of position, at least with some damage. He will happily survive, though, with that pipe. Now, the main reason for that Maelstrom will be to get that Mjolnir. And with the Mjolnir, we can look for the all-important static shield up. The static shield is the main reason for everything with that Maelstrom in my mind. I can't see any other reason to get it. But now we have a push onto the tier 3 in the mid lane, trying to equalize the Rax disadvantage. An aggressive blink in from Sqreen. Golem number 1. It's cancelled by a Silence from Death Prophet. Ravage 1 to 5. They can bring back and down ZXC. In the meantime, it's going to be huge, but the Wisp relocates out AKG for a half second, and now that buys him time. Golem 1s. Golems 2. Double drop. Looking to bring down AKG. Couple of right could spell his doom. And now you get the aggressive Ice Path, as well as Sqreen going aggressive, looking to die to trigger that reincarnation, but Blue Banana comes in with that BKB, and it's going to be a case of they're going to turn around. They want the tier 3 and the Rax down, and reincarnation will be used. 5 seconds of delay, but is it enough? Down go the Earthshaker did go down in that little engagement, and now in comes AKG. Do they have enough? In comes the aggressive blink from Sqreen. Reincarnation is forced. They're going to bring down the Death Prophet, and now they're going to look for AKG. But can they finish him off? I don't think they can. It's a case of Rax are now more important. But in comes the toss from Chips into the middle of the team. Not going to be anywhere enough to bring anyone down. AKG cannot hold this. This is going to be Rax in the mid lane. That's going to be pretty huge. That's a 2 Rax disadvantage. But now you got the fight continuing on. More throws coming out from the Tiny and continuing to at least harass. But Nihis goes down and now could be the potential kill onto that Tiny. And this has exposed Rax bot lane as well. This could be Mega Creeps. That's a triple kill for ZXC. The Warlock absolutely massacring the enemy team. Buyback from the Tiny, looking to do something, but stunned out from the aggressive blink onto Sqreen already. And they will manage to bring down the Wraith King a second time. No second reincarnation, but the bot racks are down. The mid racks are down. Now they're rotating for the final racks, and it is so heavily damaged. This is going to be Mega Creeps in favour of Sqreen squad. Still, HEHE don't want to GG it yet. They're trying to hold this with everything they can, but BKBs come out. BKB war between Jakiro and the Tiny, but in the meantime, Fire taking some harassment from Sqreen, and they will finish off the Skywrath mage. But is the Skywrath enough alone? I don't think so. Down goes the Tiny a second time off a buyback. Longer respawn time now, and it's a case of tier 4s are the order of business. Happily going the way of Sqreen squad in this one, and what a game. What a game 1. We still have game 2 to come up between these two teams, and if we get something just as aggressive, I am in for a treat, and so are you guys. And with GG called, the Ancient should go down in a few seconds, and game 1, the way of Sqreen squad. Ladies and gentlemen, I honestly hope you have enjoyed this, and we'll be back in a few moments' time here on HeflaTV 1 with game number 2 between Sqreen squad and HEHE United. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back.